All right, what is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Round 9 Gameday Squad Football show, proudly brought to you by the Gameday Society. And I'm joined by Zonald, as always. How you going, Zonald?
Oh, I'm good. How about you? Had a nice little day off today.
Oh, amazing. Good old, was it Hobart Show Day or
Yeah, Hobart show day.
how good? Miss those. Um, so, how did you go last week? It seems like you're consistently up there. With obviously you have the knowledge that we're all trying to get out of you. So there must be some extra things that you're keeping and building your team around. How did you go?
Yeah, so it's interesting because a lot of people have pointed out that I must be consistent on the top of the leader, or talk towards the top of the leaderboards, but it's interesting because I tend to go bad week, good week, bad week, good week. It's just my good weeks have been really good weeks, which has kept me high up. And I think most people are struggling for that consistency. I haven't heard too many people say they've been able to put multiple good weeks together.
Yeah.
Again, just shows how unpredictable the scoring can be and how many good options there are.
Yeah, and got Melissa in the chat here saying she did 18th in Classic. Well done. Congratulations on that. That's a good achievement because I think that beat me. Yeah, I was 26 in Classic last week.
Still
and that's
pretty
with a All-Star Haaland. So congratulations, Melissa. You've obviously put a decent team together there. Also noticed we've got matching shirts on today, which is nice.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about it beforehand.
Yeah. Now, any standout performances in any of the leagues?
Well, so that's the other thing. With my teams, I always try to match them up so they're all the exact same. It's just different rarities for different comps. So like I went for Reece James. He was like heavily stat backed on the spreadsheet that I use, and he came out really well in historical data. So I went with him over like Cucurella. I think he scored about double the points of Cucurella, who still had a decent game. Along with that, Haaland, have it in all comps, had these all-star, which helped a lot in Classic. Other than that, there's a lot of good all-round performances. Outside of Paqueta, who played the last game and did fairly badly, like 3.5. Everyone else was above like 8 and had some big performances along with those.
Yeah. No, I think I made a couple of I made some good calls, but I also made some, disappointing calls. But we'll move on. We won't focus too much on last round because we're all here to learn about round 9. So, starting off, we're going to give the cup a little bit of a plug again, just because it's going to be such a huge focus for a lot of us, especially those who've played AFL, AFLW, NRL, where we've already had a cup through Gameday Squad. And there's going to so as of this week, this is the point where we're starting to count scores to gain entry into the cup. So round 9 and round 10 for your classic scores. If those combined get you in the top 128 coaches, you're automatically into the cup. You don't need to do anything differently apart from enter a classic side. Classic comp, it's a knockout comp, so you're matched up against a random other person within those coaches that qualified. If you beat them, you knock them out, you go through to the next round, and every round the prizes get better and better. On top of the cup, here at Gameday Society, we're going to be adding in a little bit of an extra stake. So we're starting up the Gameday Society Cup Bounty, which is something that's kind of happened in the Discord through a few generous people organising it in their own time for the other sports. But we thought we'd do it a bit differently and maybe even a bit harder this time. So for the Cup Bounty, for those who don't know, what you do is when you qualify for the cup, you stake a card, and that card is then on the line for potentially your opponent to claim off you. So if your opponent is also doing the cup bounty, so they've also staked a card, that means that you guys are going head to head for that card. The person who gets knocked out has to transfer the card over to the winner, which is cool because it adds a little something extra. It kind of builds up the community as well, which is nice. And I'm going to be coordinating all the cards, transfers, everything to make sure it's all above board. But there's also going to be a little bit extra where depending on how good the card you stake is, it's going to get you a chunk on a prize wheel each week that we're going to do on the show. So as you can see from the example, your chunk on the prize wheel is based on the average of the card you put up. So if you put up, say, a Diamond Haaland, you're going to have a much bigger chunk than someone who puts up, say, a silver card. You're more than welcome to put up silver cards. Obviously, we don't want to exclude anyone. It's open to anyone as long as it's above a bronze card. But if you put up the bigger cards, higher averages, you're going to have a better chance on that prize wheel. So it's just a little bit of extra incentive. And then every week, all the players that are still in the cup. So if you get knocked out, you come off the prize wheel. If you're still on there, every week you're going to get your chance to win something pretty decent on the wheel. Are you looking at getting in there, Zonald?
Yeah, I've got a few membership rewards coming over the next couple of days. So when I get those, I'll open those and I'll probably pick something from there for it.
Yeah, sweet. Sounds good. I'll be going in it as well. I don't know if I'll chuck my name on the board because it's a bit weird having myself on there and potentially winning my own prizes, but still got to stake something because it just makes it a little bit more fun, I think.
Yep.
But that's that. So let's just start talking round 9. So first game, early start on Saturday again, so we don't have that, the 9:30 lockout like we've had for the last few weeks. So making sure that you're locking in your team Friday night. We got Leeds West Ham. Now, West Ham's obviously a pretty, they're struggling a little bit, we can say. And we thought they were coming good, but maybe not. So is this a fixture you think you're going to be targeting?
Yeah, it's not a bad one. I did think Nuno had them going a lot better than they looked last game, especially against like Brentford's all right, but I didn't think Brentford would put them to the sword like they did. Mm-hmm. So it puts question marks on them again. Leeds obviously more of a defensive team, so it might be a bit of a better game for West Ham. The historical stats do favour West Ham as well. It's just I'm inclined to believe they'll repeat given the form West Ham's currently got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with that in mind, who are the names that you're looking at?
I've currently got Roden in defence in all of my teams, just because I struggle to see West Ham scoring, especially with their defensive style manager. So this one could be like a 0-0. Mm-hmm. Other players that are thrown up from the historical data are Paqueta again and Bowen, but I don't trust them to be able to score. So probably just Roden at the moment. And then in midfield, I'd go to Longstaff, who's in my team. Stack comes out again quite well in the stats. However, I think he's a bit overestimated at the moment because since Longstaff's come in the team, it seems like he's taken over that role and Stack's gone a bit out of the driver's seat. Mm-hmm. So I think his stats are a bit overblown, and Longstaff's for someone who's played less games are looking really good. Yeah,
I think Longstaff's probably up there with top 4 mids, which is probably why you're picking him, I assume. But I really like that pick. I think I've got him on my side too. And he had a decent return last week as well. I think he was in the
without scoring or assisting, I'm pretty sure too. Yeah. He's just another one of those players that just stacks up the stats.
Yeah, he's gone 19.5 last week, but the week before he went 17.5, and then the week before he went 49.
Yeah,
which obviously that was a big one. But that's some hot form, which I think we just have to keep riding until we see otherwise. And this fixture, positive for midfielders, and possibility of goals there as well. So I think that's an obvious pick.
Yeah.
I think that's about it for the fixture. Paqueta, I like, just because, like we say every week, West Ham aren't, I don't think, necessarily a bad side. I think they should kind of turn it around. And I think, he's a quality player. So he's one that I've had in and out of my side purely because I don't hate the Leeds matchup, even though the numbers probably say otherwise. But it's a tricky one. That one, I think we're just looking at, those Leeds players are the main thing.
Yep.
Push on to the next one, I think.
Yeah, that's an easy one. It's just a few players and then we're done.
Yeah. So Chelsea, Sunderland. Now, this is one where last week Chelsea obviously struggled pretty heavily in the first half. That was the first game last week, wasn't it? So a lot of us were probably watching it, and then all excited for Ange maybe sneaking through, and then second half just everything fell apart for Forest. But it seemed like it all kind of hinged on a few of those subs that they made at halftime. How much do you read into that for like maybe going forward with full minutes?
Well, yeah, they weren't at full strength. It clearly rested a few players. Casado had like his first ever time on Chelsea's bench, or it had been a long time since. And today with their Champions League game, they'd already wrapped up the game at halftime. They made subs to get all their players off for the weekend. So it's going to be Enzo playing. It's going to be Casado. João Pedro's probably going to be at striker again, I can imagine. So it's hard to go past Chelsea in this one. I've been big on Sunderland and their defensive efforts this year. They ran into a bit of a problem with the United attack, and I could see that happening here, especially away at Chelsea. So I'm more leaning away from the Sunderland players, the usual defensive ones and Royce, and I'm looking at the Chelsea guys again. Enzo's a big one, whether they get a lead and then he gets subbed off. He gave away a penalty to someone else today. So
he took a penalty though as well, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. He took the first one and then gave the second one away. So there's always that sort of thing that could happen. Like good bloke and all, but could give away a penalty here and then you miss out on the chunk of points you expect when he does actually get a penalty. So there's that. Reece James, I'm seeing a lot of people high on too again this week. I'm back off of him. I sort of spoke to some people about this after the game because a lot of people were saying, because I picked him obviously and said I was picking him prior to the game. So a lot of people messaged me asking me about the pick, but I recommended not getting drawn into recency bias and the fact he scored and assisted. He's not going to do that every week. If you watch the game, his goal was what I'd call pretty lucky. He was in the center of the box from a corner, rebounded out, and he just hit it and it went in. His assist, free kick related. Enzo's probably going to be back on free kicks, so it sort of leads you back towards Cucurella if you're going to go either of the two. I don't think either or were necessarily high up in the stats this week, but Chelsea's got some pretty good history against Sunderland. Like just by looking at the data, they have only kept a clean sheet in 2 of the past 10 meetings against them. They did last play in 2017 though. So it's hard to read form for that.
Yeah. We have a question in the chat. Thoughts on João Pedro for this one? I rate him. You've mentioned it looks like with the Ians, he's probably going to slot back into his preferred role where, at the start of the season, he was scoring very well. Interesting stat. He hasn't had a shot on target since August, which is, it's somewhat concerning, but also probably related to, where he's actually, playing in his role. But I rate him, and I think he's probably going to be a bit of a unique pick this round just because of his recent form. What are your thoughts?
I don't like him at striker, and I think that might continue because they've preferred Enzo to be the attacking midfielder with Palmer out. Like, they obviously were playing João Pedro there when everyone was fit, but with Delap out and the lack of attacking options, he's been playing striker, which is a weird thing to say that he hasn't had shots on target, being a striker instead of a cam, but he just gets so much onto the ball at cam from a deep position and brings the ball up, dribbles really well through, and then he creates his own chances. Without that, so without him being at cam, I'm staying away from him. And this is a matchup where you sort of can pick him based on history, but Sunderland are good defensively. So
interesting. Well, I guess this is probably going to be a division between us because I'm on him, you're off him. We'll check back next week and see who was right. One thing I did forget to mention, as always, we're going to do a giveaway at the end of the show. This week, all you need to do again is be in the chat, comment, ask questions, answer questions, do whatever you like, just be respectful. And then at the end of that, we're going to have a list of everyone who's been involved, and we will spin a wheel, and then we're going to open some packs and give away, we're going to give away probably the best cards, let's say. All right. jumping through to the next, unless you had anyone else in this one.
Nah, like if you think they might keep it clean, you could go towards Sunderland. Like Royce might be fine anyway because he might make saves and that might make up for the clean sheet. So he's still a half decent pick, albeit there might be a heap on him because of how well he's gone this season. So it might be better to point of reference steer clear.
Yep. And yeah, similar. Yeah, Ballard. It's just he seems like he's puts up big scores. Like just it seems like he's should be a good pick, but how much is that relying on a clean sheet? I guess.
Yeah, it's interesting with him because I haven't seen him play a lot, but from what I've seen, he's a very like not so modern centre back where he wants to get the ball out, and that leads to a lot of defensive actions. So when he's on the pitch, I think he got a 16 the other day from being subbed into the game like with like a 20, 30 minute period. So I think he's all right. The problem with him is he sort of dropped to fifth in line to get on the field in a four defender formation. But last week they played their best four defenders relevant of positions, and one of them just got moved to left back. So
yeah, I guess we'll probably better options, I'd say then. Jump on to the next midnight game. We've got Newcastle Fulham. Now, Newcastle giving away a lot of points to the keepers based on those stats, like that good matchup. Leno's been a little bit out of form. He started off pretty strong and then he dropped off a little bit. Is he an option this week?
Maybe. Like Fulham's, I've watched a couple of Fulham games and they're pretty much in the game in the first half. I think they lost back-to-back 3-1s. It's something like that. But then second half, they just get put to the sword and lose by a couple of goals. So I don't know. I think they need to get out of the rut they're in. A couple of things like that I found interesting where they've won the past two fixtures against Newcastle, which is pretty hard to do given their form last season. The last three times that Newcastle have won this fixture, they've kept clean sheets in them. So if you think Newcastle are going to win, they're probably going to keep a clean sheet based on that. So defenders and Pope might be an option. Pope seems to do well regardless of the clean sheet anyway. Like last week, he got like 8 or 9 points without the clean sheet. So he makes saves for them and they concede chances.
Yeah. And then, we've got a question from Stealth here about Gordon and then Voltmad as well. Gordon, it seems that like he's just scoring pretty comfortably. Like, how many goals has he got so far? Or how many returns?
Is that Voltmad or Gordon?
Yeah. Voltmad.
Yeah, Voltmad. Interesting. I think we spoke about him last week as well. The worry for me was that he would, when he came up against bigger centre backs that are competitive in the air, he would struggle. But he scored on Arsenal against Gabriel and Saliba, which automatically tells me that he's not going to have a problem with that. So long as they keep their game style of crossing the ball a fair bit, which with Trippier, one of the best crosses in the league, and even if Lewis Hall plays or Dan Burn probably is not making the crosses, he's probably putting it to one of the wingers. There's every chance their wide players get assists purely from him getting a headed goal during the end. So Voltmad's a good option. Trippier, not too bad. I do lean towards him getting subbed though, so don't bank on the clean sheet. Burns more of a safer option, especially given their injuries at left back.
Yeah. And what about Gordon?
I think Gordon's come out well in the stats. Like he's in the top three for Newcastle for 2 stats that Fulham are top 5 conceding in the league. So not too bad. And he's definitely an option you could go for given Fulham's the amount they've conceded lately. Wouldn't surprise me if he either scores or assists for Altmad.
Yeah. Are they compatible playing in the same 11, or do you worry that there'll be like interchanges?
Oh, no problems at all. Like Gordon was only playing striker at the start of the year because they didn't have a recognised striker. Yep. So Gordon's the clear like left winger for that team.
Yes, perfect.
Guimaraes and Jimenez both have good history in this fixture. I don't like picking midfielders that like occasionally score against a team though. Like he has 2 assists and a goal in their past 5 against Fulham. So a little bit of history, but I wouldn't just pick him because you think he might get another assist or a goal in this fixture.
Yeah. And how about Iwobi? Now, I'm hot on him. I don't know if you are this week, but what I really like about him is that in the last, well, basically all but 3 rounds, he's gone above 10, which is like a decent floor score. He's only scored 1 goal this season. So he's doing that irrespective of goals. So clean sheet bonus doesn't matter for forwards.
Yeah.
Who cares? It seems like it could be a semi-safe pick. And with Newcastle having a positive return for forwards with that +1 on average, the history kind of, who knows? But I like that pick. He's one that's kind of been in my F4 pick in and out a fair bit. Thoughts?
He hasn't like came up in my stats or anything like that, which given what you've just mentioned with his scoring probably means he consistently does well across most stats. Yep. He just doesn't top them for Fulham. So could be a good pick. He plays a pretty Gameday Squad friendly role from memory, but he does shift around a little. I would love him as a midfielder. Same with the way I would like Diouf as a defender. Then I'd probably pick him more often. It's just as a forward, it's hard because like this week it's going to be Haaland, Saka, and Semenyo for most teams, and then it's down to that fourth forward. And like I've got like 5 or 6 I'm looking at. He's not one of them though.
Yeah, he's same boat. He's one of them for me. So be interesting to see who I have sitting there Friday night when I go to sleep. Yeah. Although I'll probably set an alarm and get up. Who knows?
Yeah, just remember, guys, it is another early Saturday lockout. It's not too irrelevant in terms of most people are probably going to play Longstaff, and he should start and play. Just probably safe to check.
Yeah, agreed. So we'll push on to the next one, Man United and Brighton. United, you're a Liverpool fan, aren't you?
Yep.
Yep. Do you want to talk about it or no?
Nope.
Yep. Cool. So United in some crazy good form from a one-game history. Obviously, few people that we're looking at picking from the United side. Bruno Fernandes, obviously one who's in consideration basically every week. And I think we've talked about it almost every week that it kind of doesn't matter how United go because he's going to hit those stats. But who else are you loving from United, if anyone, from a Gameday Squad perspective?
Cunha comes out well on the stats, albeit I've checked his form against Brighton when he was at Wolves and he hasn't done much against them previously. Always a chance that he doesn't start either, given he's still come back from that injury to be fully fit. So a lot of people are keen on Bruno, so that could happen. He's a midfielder too, which makes him a great pick, rather than being in that forward like fourth spot where they're all like trying to fill. I'm just heavy on Bruno Fernandes, like he's in my team because he continues to rack up those stats regardless of the game. This is another one where he's probably going to have the freedom to pick up the ball deep and then do what he likes with it. Lemons, who you've got on screen, is another good one. Like, makes saves, makes the United defense confident that there's someone capable behind him, which does wonders for a team, like it's shown in the last couple of weeks. Yeah. So he's a potential pick. In terms of like their performances against Brighton, Brighton have won the last 2 against them, and each team's only kept 1 clean sheet in the past 5 meetings. So it tends to be goals for either team. Brighton have also won the past 3 fixtures at United, so at Old Trafford.
Yeah, so it kind of feels like Brighton concede goals. Oh, they score goals, but they concede more. Yeah, and they will score goals, but they will also concede. They've conceded goals in basically all of their last, going back a long time. Yeah, but they've also scored in all those games. So there hasn't been a team that hasn't scored in one of the games since August.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wouldn't be confident on a clean sheet for United because they've scored against decent teams like City, Tottenham, Chelsea. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like it's a fixture thing. So,
yeah, 100%. Like, these 50-50 games can have a decent keeper score come from them with clean sheet or with just general lots of saves if there's a bit of a slight upset. So I'd say Lamens, Bruno Fernandes, and Brumo. Welbeck's been in a little bit of form. I just hesitant to pick him. Does he play every single week? Does he start every week? The only others I can sort of lean towards would be Dorgu if he starts, like if you're confident he's going to start, so that he can try to rack up some of those points with 90 minutes behind him. But aside from that, it's probably just Bruno Fernandes and Lamens are in my thinking at the moment.
Yeah, agreed. And I think Lamens is probably going to be more of a unique pick as well, just because I don't know how long he's been in packs.
Yeah, not many people would own him for sure.
So that if you have him, it could be a really good unique there.
Yeah.
Got a question here. Another question from Stealth. Thanks, Stealth. How's your read on Minter?
He scored last game. I think he scored and assisted, actually, him and Matoma. So they're in decent form in terms of the last time they played United. Minte's generally in form anyway. He's a very good dribbler, very pacey, so very hard to contain. United, with their setup of technically a 5 at the back, might be able to do it a bit better with, say, Dalot passing him off to a De Ligt or Luke Shaw or someone like that. So I'm a bit more hesitant because I think he will have sort of 2 people marking spaces or him throughout the game.
Yeah. No, I just looking at his numbers though, his scoring floor is crazy good. Like last week he scored a 9, which is one of his lowest scores, which is probably one of the highest scores for a lot of other forwards.
Yeah.
But he's consistently scoring around that 14, 15 mark and then going up to 22. So there's not a massive, he doesn't get those 25, 30 scores.
Yeah.
But he's still, I think he's a good option, but you're right, this week, maybe not.
He comes out well on the stats. Like last week he did, came out really highly in this. This week, funnily enough, he's not in any top 3 for any stat that United or top 5 have conceded.
Okay.
So I'm struggling to pick him because of that whole setup of the United defense. He is in my thoughts, though, of the 5 to 6 forwards I'm picking for my last spot. It's just I've got Salah sitting there right now.
Okay, and you've got Salah in 4. Oh, I guess we'll get to that once we do the team reveals. But it's just tough because there's I think most people have 3 forwards pretty much locked in, and then the 4th spot is going to be the variability. But then there's so much potential to get that wrong. So, this is going to be a nervous wait. All right. Brentford, Liverpool. Oh, I've got Gakpo on there twice. Ignore that. Is that good?
Is that good?
Now, one of them should have been Salah. Because, as you just mentioned, I think you're hot on Salah this week.
Yeah. In general, this game's interesting because Liverpool has a really good history of against Brentford. They've won the past 5, won the past 2 Brentford home games. Salah's got 5 goals and an assist in the past 5 meetings against them. In the 9 total fixtures that they've played against Brentford at Brentford, they've only kept 1 clean sheet though, so a bit of a worried defence. Brentford has only scored 1 goal in the past 5 meetings though.
Yeah.
So a lot of those past 5 meetings have been at Liverpool, and they've managed to keep a clean sheet in 4 of them, I think, from memory.
Yeah. So
tend to play well at Liverpool. Against Brentford, it's a bit like Brentford's back into the game a bit. But yeah, Brentford's form is good because they just came off flogging West Ham. Like if you watch the game, they tore them to shreds, whereas Liverpool struggled against United. So
yeah, but how much do you think they'll want to bounce back after that?
Yeah, true. And Vert's found some form today as well. He managed to get his first goal contributions, 2 assists in 4 minutes.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know,
he's switched on now. He's pick.
yeah, potentially. Like he could be a bit of a pod this week because everyone's gone off him. of the players that are actually like come out well in stats, like Salah's come out well in the historical data, and he's really good in the stats for this week, which is interesting because I read more into those with him, given that his stuff like pace for him's like disappeared a little bit this season. So the stats that he's getting this season, the fact that Brentford gives them away means he's probably a chance to really impact this one.
Yep.
And then you got Gakpo. Gakpo's doing Gakpo things like he has the whole season.
And what about someone like a Van Dijk? You know, slight positive on defense.
Yep.
How did he show up in your stats?
From memory, he wasn't too great, if at all. Yeah, he wasn't in any of the stats, which doesn't. It's not too bad, particularly for defenders. Just probably means that Brentford don't like give away a lot of the defensive key stats or concede a lot of them, which sort of makes sense for the Brentford type team.
Yep.
I think Van Dijk's fine pick. I've got him just because of Liverpool's form against Brentford. And I feel like Van Dijk could still tally the stats up like he does occasionally without keeping the clean. So it's sort of a semi-safe pick, in my opinion, that a lot of people will make.
Yep. And then in terms of like the front three for Liverpool, how do you see that looking? And do you have any rotation concerns?
I do, especially with Gakpo. Like I've said it since Isaac got up to full fitness. Gakpo, Isaac, Ekitike, and Wirtz all become like a rotational risk. I think Salah not so much. Salah was benched today, came on with like 20 to go. So I think he's sort of set to start again on the weekend. Yep. Isaac was subbed at halftime. That sort of reads to me that he's probably going to be the one that starts on the weekend. Ekitike scored, and I'm pretty sure Gakpo scored today, or like assisted. So it's interesting whether they will keep Gakpo there and bench Ekitike, and then they have to think about, are we going to bench Szoboszlai, McAllister, one of those two, and put Wirtz in there at cam? Just like I'd rather just stick with Salah for now, especially with the other three forwards sort of set. So I'll pick Salah over Gakpo because of that rotational risk and because Salah's got some fresh legs from today's game.
Yep. And obviously coming into Cup, we're looking at potential all-star cards that we might want to use if we're lucky enough to have them. Salah has one, obviously, so you'd be quite comfortable playing him. What about Isaac?
Yes. Again, if he's your only one, I'd play him just for it. And the fact he only played 45 today, it's just he's still the rotational risk. Ekitike scoring could mean he starts, and Isaac just had 45 minutes just to get a refresh after the injury troubles. Or not the injury troubles, fitness troubles. Salah, Cal can play this week if he hasn't managed to pick up a Haaland in between. So that'll be fine. Just the preference still remains Haaland and then probably Saka, maybe Salah this week as third.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. Brentford probably stay away from.
Yeah, you could bank on a goal from someone, but it's hard to pick.
Yeah. So this next fixture, Arsenal Crystal Palace, this is going to be an interesting one for me because it's kind of two forces, like the Arsenal, attackers that we would be picking coming up against the Crystal Palace defenders who we would be picking. I hate picking defenders and attackers who are playing against each other because you can never win. Which way would you be leaning in this one?
Saka. Probably just Saka. It's interesting. So there hasn't been a clean sheet in this fixture in the past three. So you would think this would be a typical low-scoring game the way these two teams play, but there's 23 goals between them in the past 5 Arsenal home games. So
wow, okay.
There tends to be goals in this one, which I was surprised about as well because I'm here saying, Mateta. If anybody goes and picks Mateta again after he came off that week where they probably shouldn't have picked him last week either, then so he's scored 2 goals in the past 5 fixtures. Gabriel has 2 goals and an assist in the past 5 against Palace, and Saka has 2 assists. So Gabriel, Saka, both in my team currently, both in probably most people's teams, if not all of them.
Yeah.
I think David Raya as well. some people think it might be a banked clean sheet and just like a 10-point game. Polar opposite. I think that he'll concede chances. I'm hoping he makes the saves for these chances. And I think a lot of people will still play Raya. And not going to be as short of points, but I think he'll get enough from either, even if he concedes.
Yeah. And so Gyökeres has obviously been a very popular target for us in Gameday Squad. When he first transferred to Arsenal, there's a lot of hype around him, a lot of, coming in with great numbers from Portugal. Now, the role he seems to be playing for Arsenal doesn't, it seems like an important role, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be converting into points. Do you think that's going to be a consistent thing, or do you think we can maybe bank on some, decent returns in a week where maybe no one else is looking at him, or is he just a write-off?
So first thing I'll do is go back to like the whole 3 set and then the last forward. So I just can't pick him with just one spot remaining.
Mm-hmm.
I've got others ahead of him. I thought he would be better with Saka because Saka's unbelievable, creates chances. I thought he'd assist Gyökeres a lot more and both the numbers would be boosted, but it's just Saka doing everything and Gyökeres just isn't on the same page. So I'd rather just play Saka and avoid the double Arsenal up front until he's like scoring like for every single week.
Yeah. And what about, say, an Eze as well? He's just not getting any returns. And I think we said last week, the role just doesn't look like it's there like he had.
Yeah. So he doesn't play in the same role he played at Palace. Like it doesn't even exist in the Arsenal system. When Odegaard comes back, if he pushes to a wing that like inverts, then it might be all right. But at the moment, he's playing way too deep. And like, if anything, Declan Rice is like in the same position, just sort of on the opposite side of the field, is doing what he sort of should be. So I'd back Rice in more for a goal or an assist than I would Eze.
Yeah. And with Eze, he's obviously full transfer, not on loan. So he's eligible to play, unlike Grealish last week.
For sure.
But until something changes, and it's really frustrating because I've got his legend sitting in my account, but I can't play him. Now, I guess Crystal Palace defenders, are you steering clear of them this week, given you the history with big score lines?
I will be. Like, I think Munoz in general is just a good defender. You can pick him most weeks. So if anything, you could probably go with him. There's a couple of Palace players that come out decent in the stats because Arsenal are high up for stuff like conceding clearances because they're so like they're such a good team. So like the defenders are going to get those sort of stats regardless. It's like with the Liverpools, with the Cities, the teams they're playing are going to concede those sort of stats. So like they'll get some stats from the defensive actions, like the clearances, the interceptions. But I don't think it'll be enough this week against Arsenal. And on top, Arsenal should score. So I'd sort of avoid them, maybe Munoz.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard because we're reliant on some of those Crystal Palace defenders week to week, that now that we're avoiding them, like it's made that backline decision-making so much harder, I've found anyway this week. But yeah, I think you're right. So jumping through to game 8, we got Aston Villa and Man City. Haaland lock, obviously. Although the numbers suggest maybe negative 3.22. So no, you can't.
So Haaland's only ever scored 1 goal against Villa.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's how many times he played him? More than once, I assume.
Yes, more than once. More than like, I haven't checked, but it's probably more than like 5 or 6 times. Like from the past 5, he's missed 2 of those games, so he's at least played 3 of them. But yeah, in general, he's scored once against them, and that's it. I'm still going to play him, and everyone else is still going to play him. But yeah, if he blanks, that's why. Is
it maybe then would like fading him this week be a pod?
Nope. Don't do it.
Especially don't do it when you're qualifying for the cup. these 2 rounds. You don't want to be making decisions.
So when I get to my team, I'll say a bit more on this, but there's going to be so many people playing Haaland, Saka, and Semenyo this week that it's probably way, way too risky not to play them. And if they blank, who cares? Everyone's playing them. So, wow, I could have played a pod and got a little bit of advantage, but I could have also not played Haaland, and then he scores 5 goals, and everyone else plays him. I don't, and then my next few weeks I'm playing catch up. So I'd rather just do that and max out rarities on those 3.
Yeah, no, I fully support that and will be doing that. So aside from Haaland, then Pep Roulette was in full swing last week with who was it that didn't play that we were expecting? Vardio.
Yep.
Is that a concern for people that were maybe looking to target that positive matchup for City defenders? Or do you think he'll be back?
It is. And what I'll say on people that are gonna play City defenders, not so much Donnarumma because he could get saved still and he'd be fine. But City haven't kept a clean sheet in the last 10 between these 2. So
okay,
Aston Villa
go ahead. I was gonna say, is that Aston Villa were a European contending side though for a while?
I still think they are. Yeah. I think they got into a little right at the start of the season, but we're starting to see more of their actual form, which is a good time to play City at for them. Not so much for us who want to stack up on City. But a lot of people have still been targeting the Villa fixture, playing teams against them, and they've been doing too well. Maybe some here or there, but a couple of other things. Villa tend to play really well against City, so they've won the past 2 home fixtures against City. It's been 8 Aston Villa home fixtures since City kept a clean sheet, so 10 total, 8 home. Rodgers has a goal and 2 assists in the past 5. Foden has 4 goals in the past 5. Doku 2 assists.
Okay, so say with Rodgers, is he your go-to forward for Villa? Obviously, Ollie Watkins on the bench last week, which surprised a lot of people. But yeah. So
I think Watkins will be back. Malin can play multiple positions too anyway, so even if they want to start him, it's just Rodgers comes out way better. Rodgers was good last week, and I think he still leads the key passes and got shots on goal for Villa over Watkins. So I'd stick with, if you're going to go that way, I'd stick with Rodgers. Albeit we've still got the Rodgers as a forward and he's up against all the others this week. So I'd lean towards Foden. I don't currently have him in my team because I'm playing a pod midfielder this week, and my other 3 are taken up by popular options. But I'll probably get him back in there somehow before the lockout. He's got 4 goals. One of them was a hat trick against Villa. And he was benched, I think, this morning, which I think will mean he'll play on the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, going by Pep, though, we don't really know what's going on in that noggin. One person I did want to ask you about before we move on is Reiners. Obviously started off pretty strong and then kind of probably stuck around in our heads just because he was consistently on the team sheet for City. Are we now at the point where he's not really getting returns? So there's not much point being on a City team sheet still if you're not getting returns. As a midfielder, you don't get any benefits from having a strong back line. Is he just now just going to take up a slot that we can't afford to kind of fill?
Yeah. So one thing is I think Foden come back in hurts him because they play very similarly. I think Rangers needs to play advanced if he's going to have the impact he was having in those initial games, because watching those initial games, he gets forward a lot into the box, actually tries to create chances, isn't afraid of playing a pass, which surprised me he hasn't been dropped at some stage by Pep for doing that sort of stuff. Maybe Pep's a bit more open to creativity these days. So given City players are already a risk of rotation, because he's not playing in that role, it's sort of like Eze, he's not playing the role that he's good at, so don't play him.
Yeah. No, that's fair. But other than that, I don't think I've been looking at any Villa players apart from Rodgers now that you've mentioned it. City, Haaland, Foden, Donnarumma. But yeah, that's probably it. Now that I think I've got Guardiola in my side, but I'll probably be swapping him out now that you've mentioned those numbers.
Might not repeat, but yeah, they do have pretty good form against them.
So this is why I watch the show, so that I can get this information out of you. All right, pushing on to the next one. Second last game of the round, Monday early morning. Bournemouth versus Forest. Forest with a new manager, not a caretaker manager, which is a quick turnaround. How do you see them responding?
I think it's good. They've got another defensive manager. So a lot of the problem is when they get a new manager, change in style, and that's what they had with Ange. With Dyche, they're getting the same thing they had with Nuno, so that we already know they can play that way, and we know they're good at playing that way. So I automatically think, okay, let me go back to the defenders. And with the defenders, the 50-50 games, so you got Sells, who's a good shot stopper. Sells is a good option in a 50-50. Might make saves, might keep the clean sheet. Be a pod because nobody really knows about him because his form's been indifferent this year with the Ange setup for most of it. So I think Sells is a good option. I think Petrovic is like the same good option because it's a 50-50. Someone I'm really high on is Neco Williams.
Yep.
He's in 4 stats, top 3 for Forest, and Bournemouth are top 5 for conceding all of those in the league. They are successful dribbles. They're 5th for that, Bournemouth are. Neco's got 8 of those, and he's equal 2nd for Forest. He's equal 3rd for Forest for shots on target. Bournemouth's 5th for conceding those. Aerial duels 1, Bournemouth are 3rd for conceding in the league. Williams is 2nd for Forest with 12. Tackles, they're 3rd for conceding. Neco Williams is equal 1st with 12 for that. And then clearances, he's not in the top 3 for that, but he's like 6th for Forest. And Bournemouth, again, they're 2nd for conceding clearances. So a lot of it points to Williams, even without a clean sheet, doing really well regardless.
Yeah. My concern with Williams is that 2 weeks this season, he's gone negative. So I know that
I think that's an Ange problem.
Yeah, but it's still, it's just going to sit there because obviously the negatives with the multipliers get even worse. So the more you stack a negative player, the worse it gets.
Yeah.
But one person I'm wondering with your stats how they turned out, and one person I've always been hot on but never been able to play is Zinchenko. And now he is officially in Gameday Squad, a Nottingham Forest player. So
yeah,
is he an option similar to Williams, or is he maybe a no?
So the reason he's not in the stats is because he's only played a certain amount of games for Forest. So he's probably not going to be anywhere near the top 3 purely just from lack of playing for them. Or lack of games in general because he didn't play at Arsenal this season from memory. So he could be because they're setting up defensively again. I think you could go to Milinkovic as well. You could go to Murillo if you're confident he'll start and play. From memory, Dyche plays back 4s. It's just super defensive, which is fine. And I think it'll be Neco Williams, Murillo, Milinkovic, and Zinchenko. Handy that Williams can play either side, so he's sort of, you'd think, nailed and not chance of rotation with a new manager. So I think any Forest defender is decent. I just think Williams is a riskless pick because he should score stats that Bournemouth concede. Whereas I've got no data on Zinchenko, so I'll lead that way. And then if they get the clean sheet because they set up super defensive and win 1-0, even better. He's going to skyrocket with his score. I will say though, historically, Forest don't come out well in this game, so they haven't won in the past 10 against Bournemouth. Bournemouth are undefeated in the past 5 home meetings against them. Semenyo's pretty good in this fixture. He's got 2 in the past 5. Clivert's got 2 goals, 2 assists in the past 5. Bournemouth won 5-0 last time.
Yeah, Semenyo's in hot form as well. On top of those 2 and 5 is not at the level he's playing right now. So I would back him for more than that return. Yeah, I think we've talked about it enough, but he should be a lock for everyone this week.
Yep.
100%. Now, there was one other thing I was going to ask you about. Senesi. He's one that's been a popular pick most weeks for people, just purely from, pretty consistent scoring. You see him as an all right option.
Gets a lot of defensive actions and contributions, so he's fine. He tends to actually go well against the taller attackers too. So if it's Chris Wood, I wouldn't worry about that. So I would say he's fine. And given that Forest are probably going to set up defensively again, then Bournemouth players are going to work out just as well. It's just like maybe if Forest don't concede, Semenyo doesn't score, but doesn't mean he's not going to build up a heap of like attack and stats from it.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's fair. And we'll jump into the last game of the round now. So if you haven't been in the comments already to get your name on the prize wheel, get in the chat now, ask questions, answer questions, and we'll get your name on there. But after we finish looking at the last game, we're going to lock the entries. So our last game of the round is Everton. Oh, no, sorry. I've got 2 left.
Wolves and Burnley. Yeah.
I missed one.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So Wolves and Burnley. So, who Burnley come out pretty good for a lot of players in this purely because Wolves have been pretty underwhelming. Anthony, probably a pretty, I don't know if to say popular pick, but he would be a decent pick.
Yep.
Does he come out all right, or is there not enough data for him?
No, he comes out really well. So him and Neco Williams are top of the list. He's got, again, like Neco, he's got 4 stats that he's top 3 in for Burnley, and that Wolves are top 5 conceding in the league. So really good. Could be a good potential pod pick. So he's in my thinking as well for the 4th spot. I'm just struggling because I haven't looked into it, but I feel like Burnley perform better at home than they do away. That might not be right, though. Like I said, I've probably looked into it. Albeit I'm still high on Burnley players. So I've currently got Hartman, who some people might not know. It's one of their fullbacks. So I got him in my team. Cullen comes out well in the stats. Hesitant to pick him, though. He's more of a defensive style player, I think. And I'd rather an attacking player from the midfielders against Wolves. Maysbury, I think that's how you pronounce it, used to play for United. He comes out pretty well in the stats. I know he hasn't started every game, though, so it steers me a little away from him. I'm high on both teams. I think Dubravka's a decent shout for a pod because he could make some saves here, despite it being Wolves, or he could just bank the clean sheet if Wolves do struggle. But I've got Hartman from Burnley, and I think I've got a Wolves player finally this week.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Because every week we talk about we don't even know which one we'd pick. But who is it that you...
Arias Andre in game, I think his name is. So reason I like him is his past 4 games, he's scored 8, 11.5, 13.5, and 6.5. That last one, the 6.5, was from 19 minutes. The rest were either 90 minutes or the first one was 77 minutes. He's played right wing all in every one of those games, and he's a midfielder in Gameday Squad. So he's playing out of position in an attacking role. He hasn't scored or assisted in any of those 4 games either. So he's banking those points without goals or assists. And they've been against Sunderland, defensive Sunderland, Brighton, Spurs, and Leeds. Leeds, another good defensive team. Spurs, a good quality team. So there's a lot of stats. He's in the top 5 for Wolves. So he looks like a good pod pick for a good matchup at home against a Burnley. who concede like a lot of key passes, shots on target, that sort of thing, because they sit so deep.
Mm-hmm. And then what about, say, Strand Larson? I know he's had the injury kind of cloud over him all season. I haven't seen whether he's fully fit or playing or anything like that. But is he an option?
I think he's now back playing and up to scratch. It's just, hard to pick him because of the whole playing for Wolves. It might be a decent fixture again to pick a player like him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'd be fine.
Yeah, probably not with the 3 lock forwards though, like we've talked about.
Unless you want to risk a pod.
Yeah, the other, player who seemed to play out of their skin last week was Kyle Walker. Great return last week. I'll just get his in the end. It was, I don't know what it was, but it was a decent 23.75. That's a great return. One of the best returns for a defender. He's also, apart from that though, it's been pretty underwhelming. Like, is that just a one-off score in your head?
Yeah, or? I think so. It's hard with again the Burnley defenders for just like random one-off games like that. Like, they sit deep enough where the defenders could just get big scores all the time. Like Sunderland sort of do it in a way. But yeah, it's hard with Burnley to justify picking Walker. The fixtures there, but yeah, I'd rather go for like a Dubravka and not double up on Burnley.
Fair. Right, and then now I think we come into, is this the last fixture of the round? Everton Spurs. So Jack Grealish had a week off last week.
Yep.
Just slot him straight back in.
Yeah, he's good in the stats again this week.
Yeah, good in the stats this week and good in the stats every week.
Yeah.
Like, he's fixture proof. Apart from that though, who else takes your fancy this fixture? I'm a bit kind of hesitant to play Spurs players, like kind of
Me too.
Going forward almost, and not even just for this fixture. Just, I don't know, there's something about it.
So Kudus has never scored against Everton. He's had 1 assist against them, and he was playing for West Ham for quite a while. So he's played them a lot of times. So I'm hesitant to pick Kudus. Yeah, he was playing for probably a worse team at the time. Oh, sorry, against Everton. He's played plenty against Everton for West Ham.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's never scored against Everton.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm hesitant to pick someone even though they've had a team upgrade. And he sort of seems like he is their main man in attack. Everton have not lost a home game to Spurs in the past 7 meetings. 6 of them have been draws. So tight games. Means we could see pretty low scoring. There has only been 1 clean sheet between the two, though, in the past 5. Mm-hmm. So I think we could get like a 1-1, and it could be some random score. It could be Grealish or Grealish pride in the system, and for Spurs, who knows?
Yep. And then in terms of, like, I guess the defense, like keepers in both sides have kind of been relevant game day squad wise.
Yep.
Yeah, like Vicario's. You back Pickford?
Yeah, I think I said it last week. Probably not because I got others ahead of him, but I think the 50-50 style games are fine. Mm-hmm. Again, I said this last week with Vicario. I haven't watched him play now. I do not rate him at all. Like, I think he's nervous in front of goal, and he just like, again, it could have just been a one-off, but he didn't seem to know what he was doing.
Mm-hmm. And then got a question in the chat here from Timo. Xavi Simon's fade this week. I think
he's
so.
Created him enough against a defensive Everton, but they haven't been defensive. So, like, this attack in Everton, maybe not.
Yeah, and he just hasn't really got the returns from every game he's played, and he's played fine in the game. So it's kind of like he's not transitioning into points what he's doing. So I was big on him pre-season, or like, at the start of when he came through to Gameday Squad.
Yep.
But the more I've watched him, he got 14.5 in the first game, which I think he came off the bench for that, which was a good return. But then since that, he's gone 6.5, 8, 6, 5. So that
a little bit below what you'd be looking for.
Yeah, it's below what you need, really. So,
Yeah.
I think until things, I guess, turn around for him, I would be fading him if you have been starting him.
Yeah.
Anyone else you want to talk about this game, or?
Not really. It's hard with like Richarlison's got good historical data against him, but he hasn't been starting. So I think they've been playing in Champions League instead.
Yeah, I'm just looking down that list, and there's not really anyone that I would consider. Nah. So I think that wraps this up for the games. So for the first time this series, we're doing a pod pick each for the round, just to kind of give some advice for those last positions to maybe, see if you can get ahead in that area. Do you want to run through yours first, or we've done this independently as well because we didn't know who we picked before we made our list. So,
I'll run quickly through mine. So, Arias I already mentioned, like he's got some really good stats and scores without scoring or assisting yet against good teams. I can only imagine he does well against a poorer team. Neco Williams, really good in the stats. Someone who I recommend you pick this week. With the new manager income and the defensive style. Hartman's a bit more of a you could go with him, you could not. He could do well, he could not do well. I back him in against Wolves because I think regardless, he has a few stats where he should get them against Wolves and get a decent score. Rodon, Leeds playing so defensive this year and doing it well. He's been really good in the air. He's been creating attacking chances. I think he's in the top few for them for shots on target, despite there not being too many in general for them. So half-decent pick with defenders being difficult to select this week. And then Anthony comes out really well in the stats. A pod for sure.
Yeah. So I've kind of changed it. It's interesting looking at the list that we both picked a Wolves midfielder and a Leeds defender, but we picked different ones.
Yep.
Mainly because I think I really like your picks, and I think that the data backs it all up. But for me, if I'm going a pod, I want someone with that huge ceiling who's maybe going to kind of blow it out of the park compared to some of the regular decent scorers. So Anthony is number one, and potentially not a pod, to be honest, given he's sitting up pretty high on the average list as well. When you're like scrolling down your cards, he's one of the first up there. I've gone Gomez as the midfielder for Wolves, purely off the back of some pretty decent scores the last few weeks, and a decent matchup. For the defender, I was thinking Rodon, but I've gone for Goodmanson.
Yeah, Goodmanson.
Can never say that. Yeah.
Funnily enough, they both come out really well in the stats, Gomez and Goodmanson.
Yeah. So either way, it's going to be a 50-50 pick. Iwobi, I've mentioned, I'm big on him purely for he's getting points without scoring, and it's a fixture where I can maybe see some more attacking returns.
Yep.
And last one I got there is Pedro, purely because I see him as a pod. I rate him this fixture. I think, look, I know it's controversial about whether his form is based on where he's playing on the pitch. I think with, Enzo behind him, I actually, look, it may be wrong, but I like him in a team with better players. So, I don't know. See how we go.
All makes sense.
So, that's our pods. Next, we'll quickly run through our five-a-side challenge that we've been doing. Bit of a underwhelming week for both of us with our teams last week, but I just got ahead again, and I've brought back the difference. As you can see, after however many rounds it's been, there's only 0.25 between the two sides, which is crazy to think. In terms of our lineups, as you see there, we've basically talked about all these players as decent options. Paqueta, I don't know. It was kind of a pick where I'm running out of decent midfielders to pick. So he's on there. Hopefully he gets a return, but I'm not super confident. But the rest I'm pretty happy with. Let's jump into the team reveals. That's probably what people people are wanting to see. Start off with you there.
For sure. So,
Talk us through.
we're both just showing our starter teams. So Semenyo, Hal, and Saka, everyone's going to play them this week if they have them. My advice on the comps above starter is to max out the rarities for those three. Because everyone's playing them, you're automatically going to be ahead in points of them. And then it's just down to the rest of your team to, like whether they're pods or you're matching a lot of the popular picks as well. So sort of locked in a lot of teams. Salah's currently my fourth pick in the 5 to 6 people I'm deciding between. Midfield's pretty common too. I've got Grealish, Longstaff, Fernandes. I think that'll be one of 3 of the most popular picks in there. So I've gone very like same with a lot of other people this week. Andrade is, and that's probably why I picked some pods. So Andrade's my pod in the midfield currently. He could lose his spot to Foden, or one of those 3 could if I want to change things up. Most likely Longstaff, I think, would be the one that makes way, just because more people are playing him. I might think he might get an off week and then come in with a Foden. Andrade, again, pod, mentioned the reasons why. So I'll stick with him for now. Everyone's going to play Gabriel, I think. Everyone's finally realised how good a player he is, like top 5 players in the game, let alone defenders. Williams, a pod for me, maybe not so much anymore. Rodden's in there. Van Dijk, the potential for a clean sheet with their history against Brentford and potential for other points too. Hartman, another unique in there at the moment. But from the sounds of things in the chat, like some people are on Burnley as well. So could be pretty common. And then I've just got safe and reliable Raya and Pope in goal.
Yeah. So jumping over to my team, we have a lot of similarities, but our defense and keepers are very different. So forwards, I've got same 3 forwards up front. I've got a Wobie in there as my 4th at the moment, but he's constantly swapping between him and Anthony. I think are probably the 2. Midfield wise, same 3 on the field. Bench, I've got Paqueta as well. This is a lot to do with the bronze cards I have. So I don't have a heap. So I'm probably going to go on the hunt probably tonight and tomorrow to hopefully pick up some better players. And then defense as well. Pretty different to yours.
Yeah. I like Brian. He's another good one in stats.
Yeah. I would like a Gabriel. Just don't have one. So that's one player I'll be hunting. Probably coming in for Chalobah maybe, or I don't know. Guardiola actually probably after what you've mentioned about clean sheets and Aston Villa. And then in goals, I've gone the 2 kind of almost spicy picks you mentioned with Dubravka and Petrovic. So this isn't my classic side. This is a side where I'm probably taking a few more risks than classic, just because we need to get the decent scores on the board to qualify for the cup. But yeah, I'm not super convinced, but I'm happy enough. Yeah. All right. Well, that wraps up everything apart from the giveaways. So if you could, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you do like this kind of stuff. It really helps us out. But what we're going to do is we are going to spin the wheel and we are going to pick 2 players. Those 2 players, we're going to open up 2 All-Star packs. And I'm going to keep a row of a pack. Zonald's going to keep a row of the pack. And then one of the rows is going to go away. But, if we get some decent cards and you get garbage, chances are we're probably going to give you some good stuff anyway. So thank you, Mel, for keeping track of the wheel, the list for the wheel. Get it up on the screen now. And so 2 winners here. First winner is going to Finn McGuinness. I'm not sure if Finn's been a winner before, but congratulations, Finn. You'll get the first pack, and then second pack is going to go to look out, Melissa. Normally leaves her name off the board, but I've convinced her to put it on it because she is probably the most active person in the chat. So congratulations, Melissa. You will get the second, the choice from the second pack. So let's now swap the screen over quickly to my Gameday Squad page. And let's just refresh before it. Right. So which row do you want?
Top.
Top. All right, I'll go bottom. And so Finn's getting the middle row for this one. Obviously, the animations on the All-Star pack, we have no idea what kind of card we're getting, but hopefully we see some All-Star cards because they are starting to run out. I don't know if you've noticed, but we're getting up into the probably 12s to 15s of most of those card numbers now. So
yeah, Helen's at like 14 now.
Yeah, let's go that size. So we'll start off with your row, hey?
Yep.
All right. Starting off with a gold. Earthy? No.
Yes, that's a good one.
That's a good one for the future.
Yeah, Rio.
Yeah. And then finally another gold on Yeka.
Not too bad. That's good.
All right.
Nice one.
We'll go mine next, and then we'll reveal Finn's last. So bottom we have a Solaire, a silver Decupia, and a silver Neeson. And then finally, hopefully we get some All-Stars in here because that'll be nice to give away. Starting off with a silver Scaris. Guay. And a Pedro. Okay. So I would take that middle row as probably the row that you would have wanted. What would you think?
Yeah, with Pedro in there. Yeah, either that or my row.
True, but not
with
mine.
Rio. But again, Rio's not really playing. It's like I play the game a bit where I like to stock my club with the younger guys for the future, which I recommend, by the way, since it's a dynasty game.
100%. Yeah. So not the worst pack, no All-Stars. We move on. Next up, Melissa. Been putting in the hard yards all season, so hopefully we get a good return for her here. What row do you want for this one?
I'll stay. I'll go top again.
I'll stay as well. Melissa's asking if it's All-Star Haaland she shotguns. Well, we'll see. Rules are rules, but maybe. We do both have an All-Star Haaland already, so. All right. Starting off with you. Solaire, again. Popular pick.
Solaire.
Shower. And then finally Simas. And then for me, we have a Lascales. I'm butchering these names, I reckon. Lukic. And then Medjbury.
Yeah, Medjbury.
Yep. And then finally from Lisa, hopefully something decent here. Starting off with a Walker Peters. Chalobah, decent option.
Pretty good.
And then Jensen. So no All-Stars. A bit of an underwhelming.
Yeah.
I think I'd say that one. But we move on. If you guys haven't seen as well, in the announcement section of the Gameday Squad Discord, Cow, the big dog, has posted that they are running a deal on All-Star packs at the moment.
Yep.
Where I think, what is it? 3 packs for
$9.99.
Yeah,
$9.99.
Like
is it $20 worth of packs?
Yeah, it's a bit over. Oh no, a bit over $20. So
over.
that's great value. And if you're going to do it, it runs out at it's at midnight tomorrow, just before lockout. Sure. Yeah, but you probably want to be starting to chase All-Stars if you're looking to go deep in the cup.
Yeah, you're sort of going to need one.
It'll be fine early on, I think, unless you get an unlucky matchup. But
which could happen because it's only that's the thing I'm worried about with the cup. There's 128 people, so it's probably going to be good matchups from the get go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
And there's so many people I do not want to draw.
I do, and I don't want to draw you because
you got the wood over me.
Well, I don't think I deserve that though. I think I've just got lucky a lot of the time. But anyway, thanks again for everyone who watched along. Any final pieces of advice, Zonald, for the viewers?
Not really. I think we got most of it out in all the match previews. So, yeah, you can feel free to drop any questions in the Discord because we'll be in and out of it until lockouts are.
Yeah, and yeah, still thanks. Make sure you do get your sides in Friday night, unless you're setting an alarm to get up early Saturday morning, because we don't have those 9:30 Saturday lockouts that we've had the last few weeks. So thanks for watching, and yeah, see you all again next week. Good luck.